On the 23rd of June, voters across the UK, including here in Southampton, will be voting on whether the United Kingdom should remain a member of the European Union or it should leave the European Union. With the referendum just around the corner, student campaign groups supporting both the staying in and leaving of the European Union have started intensifying their efforts to convince the university student population why we should remain or head towards a so-called Brexit. A number of public events are also being organised by SUSU and the university to enable both campaign groups and students to express their views. Students for Europe Southampton is the university wing of the official campaign for Britain to remain a part of the EU and has organised events to convince students as to why they should vote to remain.
We've been organising a lot of debates recently. Erasmus Network held a great debate with Alan Whitehead down to speak on the issue. But the thing we've been focusing most on at the moment is registration. The most important thing for students to do, even if they don't agree with us, is actually register to vote. I'm sure that's a lovely catchy line. That's a great one to use, show how pro-registration we are, but it's also true. Over the next few weeks we'll be distributing more leaflets and more materials, but at the end of the day, it's the debates where students can hear from the experts who know best on issues like trade. That's where they'll really make an informed decision.
Okay, so if we were to remain in the EU, how would it affect the university itself, do you reckon?
In terms of the university, to remain in the EU means we still get a high quality of students. Our research, I mean, I'm a politics student. A lot of my lecturers are European, or at least from abroad. If we want the best teachers, best lecturers, the point is a serious point. The research quality only stays that good if we keep ourselves involved in a massive pool of talent, which is what the EU fundamentally is.
What is your take on SUSU's official stance of supporting the campaign to remain in the EU?
Well, SUSU is fundamentally a union, and unions have a responsibility to their members to do what's in the best interest of their members. And when you're hearing from the university that it's in the best interest of the university to stay, when you're hearing from SUSU it's in the best interest they're getting all the facts as well, but it's in the best interest for students to stay, I think they have a responsibility not just to say we should remain, but to actively campaign and encourage their student members to make an informed decision and remain. And that's what they are doing.
The university wing of the OUT campaign is Vote Leave, whose campaign efforts have mainly focused on what they claim will be the right to take back control from Brussels, emphasised most notably when they embarked on an awareness drive by handing out free condoms on the red brick.
The EU is an anti-democratic political union. The democratic structure of the European Union doesn't make any sense. Jean-Claude Juncker, out of a possible electorate of about 600 million, was elected by 27 people. For me, democracy is about decisions being made as close to the people who it affects as possible. And what we see with the European Union is a supranational body taking legislation up from national government, which means national government takes legislative powers away from local government, and then you end up with local governments being disenfranchised and people begin to think that their governments don't care. And if we can bring back some of our democratic power from Brussels and bring it back through the British political system, we can end up with a democratic system that works so much better for the people of this country.
How has campaigning gone so far for the Vote Leave campaign?
I think it's going well. Certainly in terms of, from a Southampton perspective, we've got a lot of support in Southampton as a city as a whole. And in terms of the university, I've been really surprised, I will admit, by the number of people who are coming around to the Vote Leave position. People always say that students are, not Eurosceptic. They're people who would be naturally in favour of Europe. But what we're seeing on the street is that people are fed up of the EU, and they're fed up of what it represents, and they want a change. And it's been really good feedback so far. I mean, we're not at the level in terms of membership of the Students for Europe group yet, but we only started out about a couple of months ago, and we're up to 35 people. So that's the core support, and we're getting loads of people coming up to the streets and saying that they're going to vote Leave.
So what is your take on SUSU's official stance of supporting the Remain campaign?
Obviously, I don't agree. I don't agree with SUSU's position on the European Union, but I can see that they've made it for the right reasons, and I've got no issue with students' unions taking position on the European Union. Actually, I think SUSU are, in terms of some of the stories that I've had from other Students for Britain groups across the country, SUSU have been really good in supporting both sides of the campaign and supporting everyone being able to get a well-informed position on this. I've got no issue with the Students' Union taking a position as they have, because it was a democratic position that they took with a vote of the Union Council. And while I don't agree with the Students' Union's position, I have no issue with them having one.
Whatever the result, on the 23rd of June, Britain's relationship with the European Union is undoubtedly going to change, whether that is through the long process of reform or the start of severing the country's ties with Brussels. The effect this has, however, on the University of Southampton currently remains unknown. Alex Smith, SUSUtv News, Highfield Campus.